There we go. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back, AJ Show. I'm Jake ELLENBOGEN. Joining me, as always, is my cousin Adam Grego, also known as Adam Steele. How the hell we doing, man?
Doing good. Recovering.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
So how about that? How about that week? So we, you and I both had a run-in with that dude that they call Mark Madden. Clearly not John Madden. So I'm interested to get your thoughts on that whole thing before we get into everything else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. What is there to say that hasn't already been said about Mark Madden? He doesn't like YouTubers. He doesn't like, people that created their own platform. He thinks you're pretend media if you did anything on your own. So if you actually went the hard route, he thinks you're pretend media. And he tries to kick you while you're down. He doesn't want to share the spotlight with anyone. He's a piece of work, man. I don't know. And he keeps going too. People are going after him left and right. Urinating Tree chimed in yesterday on my tweet. Who else? Brett Coleman chimed in on my tweet yesterday. Who else? Highlight Heaven, the guy who has almost like 1 million followers on YouTube, chimed in. Packcast chimed in yesterday. So it was just a whirlwind
God.
of NFL Titans, YouTube Titans chiming in on that thread between me and Mark Madden, and it was amazing. It was just awesome. I enjoyed every second of it.
I obviously you can fight your own battles, but I had to step in and say something because I was like watching this guy like just totally drag you. But like I'm like, dude, you were like a WCW announcer. First off, WCW is dead. It's called WWE now. But second, like he is widely regarded as the worst announcer in professional wrestling. Coming from somebody that used to follow wrestling.
Is he? So he's like infamous for being bad?
He's just horrible. Like everything he does is just horrible.
Yeah.
But what's even funnier is that I didn't at him. I literally just wrote his name in, like responding to your tweet. And then he came at me and I'm like, bro, are you sitting there with 100K followers and you're looking up your name? Like, and then I tweet out, you haven't made it yet. In case you didn't notice, you haven't made it yet if you find the need to look up your name all the time. And then he responded to that. And I'm like, I didn't even have Mark Madden in that like tweet.
I know.
So I'm like, dude, this guy's a psycho. I mean, basically the way I can describe him, have you ever seen Mike Francesa?
No.
He's a blowhard. You have to follow I'll find you the Twitter account, but he does all of Mike Francesa's like stuff. He clips it and puts it in like videos with like the funniest dialogue up top in his tweet.
Yeah.
And it's like the dude's just so detached from reality. Like he's another old school guy. That's what Mark Madden reminds me of. Like Mike Francesa, like someone will call. He always gets call-ins, and the call-ins are hilarious because people will just like mess with them. They'll be like, "Oh man, Mike, I'm just having a hard time because Stan Lee died," and he's like, "Who the hell is Stan Lee?" Like it's like stuff like that. So that's the vibe I got from Mark. I'll show you those later because that dude is insufferable.
Yeah, Mark is. I honestly, the only thing I have left to say to Mark Madden is thank you, because ever since he tried to engage with me and lost miserably, I've been recognized by some of the biggest Titans in the NFL community on YouTube, which is what I'm trying to do. I got, what is it? Probably 500 Twitter followers or something in the last week.
Oh yeah. I was
probably
like,
around
dude,
5,
you're at like 900
4.
something.
Yeah, but I've gained probably 400 or 500, and then another 400 on YouTube. So, Mark, thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, that's what I loved. I kept texting him like, dude, you're growing. I love it because I've been harassing you to the point of like, dude, you got to push on
I gotta
Twitter.
try. I haven't been doing it. but
you
I
have the
have now.
personality too. So like you could make that like witty tweet and people will be like, "Oh, damn." And then they look at your avatar and like, "Oh, this dude's beautiful." Like, and then boom, there you go.
This dude's beautiful.
It just blows
Thank
up.
you. You're kind. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we talked enough. We're not going to give him too much. I just wanted to touch on that. But Mr. Devin Bush, linebacker of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't know, lost his mind last week. What what were your thoughts on that? Because man, it was all over the place with him.
Yeah, dude. I made a video on that too. It's just I don't know what it is with Steelers and social media, man. And maybe it's just because I'm in the maybe it's just because I'm in the Steelers bubble. But I don't know. You tell me. I mean, do the Rams have like social media infamy like the Steelers do? Like, do their players do stuff on social media and you're like, what are you doing? Or is it like really just a Steelers thing this last 2 years?
So it's funny because really no, but recently, like Tutu Atwell got totally busted because he was on Instagram Live and he was trying to be like, "Yo, look at me! Like I'm doing my homework. I'm getting ready for the season. I'm the playbook and all that." And wouldn't you believe it? The dude did a boomerang on Instagram showing the playbook.
Oh no!
So that's the first thing.
Like what? Just like a play, right?
But,
like a page.
Yeah, but like, dude,
Still,
like it's just the optics on that. And
that's
then he also might have leaked the new uniform.
Oh my God, Tutu.
So Tutu's out in like full force right now, man. Dude, if he's like that on the field, I mean, he's gonna win Rookie of the Year. But
it's funny because I think it's gonna continue to be a thing, like more and more, like because these younger players coming out. I mean, social media is huge and it's only getting bigger. And this generation, like the teens right now, are growing up probably the most social media savvy. That's obviously going to translate to players that are going to college and, getting drafted. They're going to grow up with it even more than we ever did. So I don't think this is stopping anytime soon. I think it's just going to become a thing of like, you better know how to manage it and not, shine a bad spotlight on the team that drafts you. And it's going to be a thing, they have to pay attention to.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. And I mean, it is funny, isn't it? Like, like the Marlon Humphrey thing, like people saying that he wasn't free. Like,
oh my God. Yeah, that was crazy.
Like, we won't get too much into that, but what the hell?
That was I
love Marlon Humphrey, though. Like, the dude, what is it? He's spending like the whole summer, he's living in like a camper, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I love that guy.
He's wild. Like, he's a cool dude.
He also forced 8 fumbles last year. Like, what corner does that?
He's a beast, man.
Dude,
the Ravens have some of the best,
I think he's the top 3 in the league at corner.
Yeah, probably. But like drafting corners, the Ravens have I've been very envious. They had Jimmy Smith, and then Jimmy Smith gets to the end of his career. You pick up Marlon Humphrey. It's like, come on, man. God.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, essentially that exactly. Like they've had Jimmy Smith. It's funny. They actually had Darius Williams, and they tried to sneak him on the practice squad. Can you imagine if they had him? I mean, it would have been nonstop. I mean, going back to Ladarius Webb, and I mean, they've always had really good corners.
They've been really good at just stocking those corners up, man. And then Marcus Peters.
What's his name? Carr? Brandon Carr was like, Carr for a long time. He fell off, and then when he went there, all of a sudden he got back to, it's like, what the hell is, they're like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you, like the whole social media thing. Like, I think that's going to be something.
Yeah, because, and like, I am not on the bandwagon of like, they shouldn't have social media, because like, it's a great way to grow a personal brand for the short time that you're in the NFL and you have this giant spotlight on you. It's like, yeah, go make your money and like get your brand going and do all that. I'm cool with the Juju, juice, like doing the YouTube and the TikToks. Like, I don't care. It's just like, make sure it's not a distraction. Like with anything, right? I think that's fair.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's like Sebastian Joseph Day has his own YouTube channel. I forget exactly what it's called. But it's really cool because like it's like a food channel, almost like a traveling and food channel, which is dope. Yeah.
That is cool.
And then Aaron Donald, it's like, getting into the life of Aaron Donald and like showing you like what his personal life is like. So that's also cool. Aside from that,
Jarvis
I don't
Landry
know.
has a channel. He just posted a video with him, Baker Mayfield, and I think OBJ. And that video is like blowing up, obviously. And I'm just like, get your money, bro. Do your thing.
If you were already like a superstar, why would you not have a YouTube channel? It's just more income.
Well, some players, they don't care to be entertainers,
Yeah,
it is true. A personality trait to like kind of want to be an entertainer. So, but yeah.
Thank you, Nolan. It's Dine and Bash. That's the name of it. What's up, Aiden? Aiden says nobody cares about N'Keal Harry. Mark Mall Santa Madden and Tom Grossi also did. So just to catch up.
Yeah.
And then Nolan says Mark Madden was atrocious on WCW Thunder. See, I told you, bro. He's like widely regarded as the worst announcer in professional wrestling.
Dude, so you know how I was supposed to get those analytics?
Yeah.
So I called up iHeartRadio.
Oh my God.
And I wanted to run an ad. I did want to run an ad. So I called up, I looked at the radio station Mark Madden does, 105.9. I was like, who hosts it? Okay, iHeartRadio hosts it. So I call up their ad agency and I'm like, I am seriously going to try and run an ad on his radio show. And so I had to get all my ducks in a row, get my story straight, because I know they were going to ask me like, what's my brand? What's my company? And I didn't want to say YouTube because I knew they probably wouldn't do an ad for YouTube. So I called him up and I'm talking to the guy and I'm like, so do you run the sector for Pittsburgh, right? And he was like, yep, I do 105.9. And he listed off a bunch of other radio stations. And I said, yeah, so I didn't say at all I wanted it to be Mark Madden. I was like, but I know when Mark Madden's show is. So I was like, yeah, I'm looking to run an ad during the weekday. I'm thinking like 3 to 6 p.m. time slot, which is Mark Madden's time slot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just trying to get a feel, for like the audience and the reach I would be getting on this to kind of budget it out. And so the guy was like all on board, he's like, oh yeah, that, what do you do? Blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I do software consulting. So, I'm trying to reach like a middle-aged kind of male audience demographic, blah, blah. And he's like, okay. How long do you want to run the ads for? I was like, I'm thinking like, a quarter of a year, whatever it is. And he's like, that's great. Okay. Yeah, we can definitely do this. And I was asking him, I'm like, so what do the numbers look like? Like what are the listeners, blah, blah. And he was like, I can get that written up for you. I'll email that to you. Gave him my phone number, gave him my email and everything. And then I released my video prior to getting those numbers. And he was, this dude was excited, bro. He was like, I'm going to make money, blah, blah. He was like, I'll get it to you the next day. I'll get it to you tomorrow. Posted my video that day. Have not heard from the guy. So I genuinely think Mark Madden saw the video and said, because I gave my real name. I couldn't give a fake name. I just couldn't do it. So I genuinely think Mark Madden called up their guy and was like, yeah, you're not running those ads, or you're not giving those numbers to him, blah, blah. Because I have not heard a peep from the guy. And this dude was like so ready to make a sale on an ad. So who knows? Maybe he'll come through. Maybe he'll be late with it, but I don't know.
That'd be so legendary.
Dude, I was this close to having his like analytics and his reach.
Oh my God. It has to be somewhat big,
I guess, but I don't know, man. Think about the demographic. It's essentially Pittsburgh, which is about 300,000 people strong population.
And he's an older guy, so there's no way like people like us would want to listen to him.
300.
So,
his graphic, is like 25 to 45. I don't think his audience is that big, bro. Like how big could it really be on a daily, like in a 3-hour time slot? Maybe what, 2,000 concurrent listeners, two to 5, somewhere around there, right? Is that fair?
I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, what do you think Colin Cowherd gets live?
I think it's more than Mark Madden by a landslide.
I mean, by far. I mean, I think I think he's gone national, to be honest with you. Like, and not just national, like he's broadcasting nationally, but I mean, like, I think he's legitimately like a national media guy.
Yeah, I think it's got to be 50 to 100, anywhere in there. Concurrent, listeners.
Nolan likes your art of war tactics, he says.
Yeah, dude.
I love it. No, that's great. I mean, it's just, hey, it's clever. It's not something, it's original, I dig it.
Yeah.
I definitely dig it. Well,
we'll see. Maybe my guy will come through. Maybe
I hope
I'm
he
just
does.
assuming. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I'll bake him a damn cake.
And I am going to run an ad. Yeah, I mean, I'm not lying. I will run an ad. I will pay and run an ad. I'm totally cool with doing that. So it's real business.
Yeah, it helps. So, but speaking of talking heads, speaking of regional talking heads, I mean, even though he was on ESPN, Keyshawn Johnson kind of covers the Rams in LA. And, what we can talk about Keyshawn as the player being, a good wide receiver in the NFL, being at USC and that connection to Pete Carroll. So there is some bias towards the Seattle Seahawks. And of course, having his nephew be Michael Thomas, who plays for the Saints, who lost to the Rams. So I think you know where I'm going with this. So there's some bias. And I never realized this. I did a video yesterday, and I just could not believe Keyshawn Johnson not just saying the Rams are going to finish third in the NFC West, but saying Seattle's going to win the division. I have them coming in fourth. Seattle's going to win the division, and why? He said the Rams defense is entirely new. Like it's a completely new defense. Now, exactly. That's the base. No, it's absolutely not. So, like I was sitting there and I'm like
a whole chunk of the offseason.
Oh, dude, I gotta show you later. Well, look at the video because I did the Ken Burns effect on Marcus Spears while he's talking, and he's just like, it's just like he's like, what the hell are you talking about? He literally is like, I'm sorry, Key, you're out your damn mind. But he basically says the Rams defense is entirely new, and it's like, no, they're not. I mean, they lost John Johnson. They lost Troy Hill. Sorry, you will see them with the Browns, and they're really good. So
I know. Thanks for that, bud. Appreciate you.
Hey, they tried to bring back Troy Hill. He actually took the Browns deal, which was the same deal because he wanted to go back home. And I'm not hating on him for it. Now, John Johnson apparently wanted to come back, and the Rams said no. But the Rams also drafted 3 safeties over the last 2 drafts, so I do get that. Plus, they really like Nick Scott. So actually, they drafted 4 safeties over the last 2 drafts. But yeah, so he was saying that Michael Brockers, I don't look at as a loss because they traded him. They didn't lose him in free agency. They traded him. So, when people are like, oh, well, they lost Michael Brockers, they traded Michael Brockers. That's like, it's insane to say that they lost him. So, like, it makes me laugh because, regardless, right? Regardless if the defense is bad, this offense, you would hope, is scoring at least 30 a game. So this defense isn't going to fall off a cliff. And then the way he was just like, and I mean, like they got Raheem Morris, but like, he's not like Wade Phillips. Last time I checked, it's like, Wade Phillips wasn't even their defensive coordinator last year, you baboon. Like, it's like
very strange. The biggest loss in my opinion, is Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, Johnson is arguably one of the best safeties in football.
Yeah, he's the biggest loss. Everything outside of that, they were kind of lined up to be able to replace, really, to be honest,
Yeah, I mean, you could argue the nickel spot, like they have guys there, but like you could argue Troy Hill would have been great to have this year. But I mean, they're still a top 10 defense, and at worst, they're top 15. And top 15 isn't like a thorn in your side type of defense. It's a defense that'll do well and will have its games where it's off. But if your offense is top 3, like I believe this offense can be, it's not going to matter. And so that's what they kept saying in the ESPN First Take. They're like, Keyshawn, like this defense doesn't even matter if the offense is scoring the way we believe it can. And like Marcus Spears, I love the way he said it. He's like, when you have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, even if what like he was saying is right, like you have two guys that can literally work in any scheme. You are fine. Your team is already has a top 15 defense just based on those two.
Dude,
like they,
the Rams, the biggest disservice the Rams have done to me as a bystander, as a viewer, is still refuse to get a star linebacker. Like if you round that defense out with a sideline to sideline linebacker, I mean, come on, bro.
I'm there because I wanted Baron Browning and not Ernest Jones. And I feel like Baron Browning has Pro Bowl written all over him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and we're in the same boat, dude. Like, I love the 4-3, 4-4, 4-5 linebackers, like the guys that can go truly sideline to sideline. What I think is funny is fans will say, oh, yeah, like he can go sideline to sideline. No. Sideline to sideline linebackers aren't a guy that can get sideline to sideline every other play or every play, every now and then. They're guys that can consistently do that because they have a motor that it never stops running. And on top of that, they have the athleticism and the physical fitness where they don't take plays off. So you get a guy like, Deion Jones, he's not taking a play off, and he's not even the most athletic. He's just one of those guys. Like you look at Bobby Wagner, you look at, Devin White, Devin Bush. I mean, those guys that have that athleticism that will literally terrorize as soon as the running back is trying to hit that corner and he thinks he's gone. And then Devin Bush just swoops his leg like right out from under him. That's sideline to sideline. And the consistency of that makes you a sideline to sideline linebacker, not doing it once a game, doing it the entire game, being able to be that guy that, they can count on. And so I agree with you. I've been saying that for years. The Rams are missing that. They absolutely are. But I think that they can scheme around it too. So
you can, but I mean, when you have that guy, it just changes it. I think 3-4 inside linebacker, when you get that 4-4, 4-3 guy at that position, changes a defense in ways that no other position can.
Yeah.
And also is probably right now in today's NFL, in a 3-4, a athletic inside linebacker is probably the most like underrated position right now in the NFL. I really believe that.
No, I agree.
The impact that they have has not caught up with how people evaluate and value them.
I feel like, like the Rams have some prospects that could turn into that. So like they have Trayvon Howard, who's a former safety at TCU, a 7th round pick they've held on to. I mean, they really like him. He ended up tearing his Achilles, I think, last year, but he's back and, they're expecting him to start. Ernest Jones isn't the athlete that Trayvon Howard is. But another guy that I'm really curious about, and I keep bringing him up, and people are like, bro, like he might not even make the roster, so chill. And I get that. But Jake Gervais from Iowa is a UDFA from the 2019 class. And he's a former safety at Iowa. And I did a video, and I can't tell you how many times I've referred to his like RAS score, but like it's crazy because, I'll show it right. I have it right here. It's a 9.92 free safety Iowa. He's 6 foot, 210. You're in a 4.48. So the Rams, the reason I bring this up is the Rams are apparently trying to get him to be a linebacker. And that would be nuts because his 10-yard split, 1.47, is insane. For a linebacker, that's like top of the line because you look at guys like, say, I have right here, Devin Bush. Devin Bush ran a 4.43. So while he's faster in the long range, his 10-yard split was 1.53. So the short area burst out of Jake Gervais, like you look at Devin Bush and then say you bring up Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner's is 1.57 for 10-yard split. Like, and the best I found in the NFL right now for linebackers, Devin Bush. Devin White isn't as fast as Bush. He had a 1.56 10-yard split. So basically, Gervais can play football. He can tackle. He's athletic. He's strong, physical, and a guy that's smart. Like, he's widely regarded as a guy that was like a captain for Iowa. So it makes me wonder if the Rams are moving him to linebacker, he might have a shot at making this team. But when you look at this team, you look at the linebacker position. If he offers athletic upside that nobody else offers, there's a chance he could start sooner than later if it works. And so that's what I'm curious with, because I agree with you. I've been saying it for years. If the Rams just got an inside backer that was a true sideline to sideline guy consistently, maybe could even blitz, shoot the gaps, it'd be great. Problem is, they just have never really valued that. And you can look at even James Laurinaitis. Laurinaitis wasn't like a super freak athlete. Their best linebacker, in recent memory is back when they had London Fletcher. So it's been a while. It's been a while. I mean, Ogletree was athletic for sure. And Ogletree was actually the first signing of the McVay and Snead era. He got the contract extension. He was then traded to the Giants like not long after.
Pretty recent after that, yeah.
It is pretty crazy. So I want to ask you, because I don't really think we haven't really ranked positions on here, and I am doing a top 100 series on my channel, but just talking about the linebackers, like if you could have say a top 10 or top 5, like who would those 5 right off the bat, who are they coming? Like who would they be?
That's tough, bro. That's really hard to say, man. Like, give me a list of the top guys right now.
Well, I mean, I think you have to look at guys like Bobby Wagner, Fred Warner, Eric Kendricks, Devin Bush, Devin White, Levante David. I'd probably say.
Yeah. So, who's the guy from Indianapolis? I always
Darius Leonard, definitely.
Darius Leonard. Yeah, I think. Yeah, right now it's probably. I love Fred Warner. I still think he's blossoming too. I don't even think he's hit his ceiling yet, which is terrifying to think about. That is
terrifying. He's my top linebacker in the league.
Yeah, I love Darius Leonard so much, dude. Like, I want the Steelers to sign him, honestly, if the Colts don't. I really like Darius Leonard.
Darius Leonard with Devin Bush. Jesus.
I would pay a lot of money for him.
Jeez.
And we're going to have a lot of money after this year. So it's actually a doable thing. But I would say, honestly, I got Darius Leonard top 3 for me.
Okay.
I feel like I'm forgetting someone. There's a key guy that I feel like I'm forgetting right now. Bobby Wagner, Fred Warner, Darius Leonard.
Eric Kendricks is great too.
Yeah, I would put him around 4 or 5 probably.
Yeah.
Right now, I have Devin White ahead of Devin Bush just because Bush was out. I'm excited for them to both be hopefully healthy this entire year and really see who comes out, because rookie year, everyone was on the Bush train. Second year, Bush gets injured. Devin White has a great year. So now everyone's on the White train. Now it's like, who's going to be the Devin that really just kind of takes over? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I'm excited to see that play out. But Devin White is clearly going to be, a great linebacker. I think he pretty much proved that at this point.
I think Devin White will be really good. My issue with Devin White is I feel like there's a clear deficiency in his coverage skills, whereas I don't feel that way with Bush.
Well, he's a little more, he's definitely better going forward, right? Like attacking the football.
Like I put Bush ahead of White on my top 100.
That's fair. That's fair if you're talking coverage. Bush had a rough 3 or 4 game stretch, I think his rookie year in coverage.
And then he corrected it.
Yeah, and then everyone started saying, he can't cover, blah, blah. But after that, he started locking dudes down. He's been phenomenal ever since that kind of rough stretch. And he was also going against, who was it? The guy, Noah Fant and Hunter Henry, I think, in back-to-back weeks or something like that.
That's crazy.
It's like, bro, come on. You got to cut him a little slack. He's a rookie going against.
That's not stepping your foot in the water. That's being tossed right in.
Yeah, so So yeah, I wouldn't be mad at anyone for saying Devin White's better right now or Devin Bush is better right now. I would see either or, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say you pretty much touched on everyone. I would say Deion Jones I have ahead of those two. Darius Leonard. Then I have Levante David. And then my top three are in this order. Warner, Kendricks, and Wagner. Kendricks has just turned into just an absolute stud. I mean, for a while I felt like he's a tad overrated, but man, he's like what everyone thought like Anthony Barr was going to be. And Anthony Barr didn't come close to what Eric Kendricks is. So
yeah. Anthony Barr was a sad story, man. He had all the traits, He just
I know, dude.
Planet theory guy. Not a lot of people built like him, but he just didn't really.
But he was also a tweener too. It's like, do you want him as an edge? Do you want him as a linebacker? Kind of similar to Parsons in this draft.
Similar to, honestly, who is it? The guy from Tulsa.
Oh, Zaven.
It was
Zaven Collins.
Yeah. Zaven Collins is like Anthony Barr 2.0. It's like a retread on it, and it's like, will it work this time? Who knows? But they are, to me, like when I saw Zaven Collins, I was like, that's Anthony Barr, as a prospect.
Yeah. I think the big thing, as far as linebackers are concerned, when I'm watching a linebacker, I'm scouting a linebacker, the things that stand out for me, can they tackle? Do they have the aggressiveness to stick their face in the fan? Do they want to shoot gaps? Because I do see a lot of linebackers that go in like the 4th or 5th round that can play in the NFL for 10 years because they're not as aggressive. But because they're not as aggressive, they'll never get those Pro Bowls. They'll never get the All-Pros because they refuse to crash the backfield. It's like a lot of those linebackers will just sit back and, I want a guy to be aggressive. I'm not drafting a linebacker in the first round to be conservative linebacker. I'm drafting him to be aggressive, be that guy that can be a step above because I can just get a conservative go-to linebacker who can play 10 years in the NFL by finding him through undrafted free agency or the end of the 3rd day in the draft. Like I don't need to get one in the first. And so, that's what I look for. And that's why, I really liked Blake Cashman. He was my number 1 linebacker in that draft with Bush, with White, and the other guy, I'm forgetting his name. But yeah, he was my number 1 linebacker because I saw his sideline to sideline ability. His athleticism was clearly on display. A guy that wasn't afraid to shoot the gap. He could rush the passer, things like that. And of course, his ability in coverage, which I always think is so huge. If you can't cover as a linebacker, now all of a sudden I have to keep you as like a situational guy. You can't play all 3 downs. And that's an issue. That's an issue. I want a guy, if I'm going to draft a linebacker, I want a guy that can play all 3 downs. There shouldn't be any excuse for that. Like, you know what I mean? You're a linebacker in the NFL. You should be able to play all 3 downs. I shouldn't have to take you out every single 3rd down because in the most meaningful down of the entire drive or what have you, I'm now taking out my linebacker. That's not cool. So I try to, I avoid that. But, one thing I'll say, because, we haven't talked about him yet. I know you were a little higher on him than I was, N'Keal Harry. He's also taught me some lessons and kind of stuff that I already knew, but like he's reinforced like my thinking when I'm scouting, wide receivers and guys I look for. But I just want to, get your thoughts on that whole that whole situation. And where do you think he could go and where do you think he should go that could benefit him?
It's tough, dude. I mean, I don't know. He's a weird case for me because I liked him coming out as like a very good possession receiver, big body, strong kind of guy.
Yeah.
And it just really never translated. I was never scared off by his separation ability. I knew he wasn't like great at separating, but that wasn't to me what you were really you weren't drafting him to be this elite route runner, right? Who created separation in the route tree. To me, it's like a possession guy, creates separation with just, boxing people out and kind of bodying them out of the play, not necessarily separating 5 or 10 yards from them, but creating, a foot and then just boxing them out, making the catch, getting those tough yards, being a red zone threat, being good in the run game. Those were all things that I expected him to contribute to a team. And I don't know if it's just the way New England used him. I don't know if he just never got on the same page as a guy like Tom Brady. But yeah, it's a head scratcher for me for sure. I don't really know where you could put the guy. I could say you could put him on the Ravens. He might fit there. I don't know though. I really don't have a good fit for him right now.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I mean you could say maybe Atlanta, trying to develop him. But I mean the biggest thing is what I'll say is that this is further reinforcing why I look at guys in the draft that will create separation over guys that will use their big body and just, high point the football, because that just doesn't always translate. And so, I think, because here's the best way I can put it. Okay. If you are a wide receiver and you're creating separation, you're seemingly giving any quarterback the opportunity to win. Throwing to you, you're getting open. Doesn't matter what quarterback you have. If you're wide open, like if you're in the NFL, you have to make that throw. But if you can't create separation, all of a sudden it does matter which quarterback you have, because now you need some pinpoint accuracy. Even if you can go up and get the ball, it needs to be thrown perfectly because you can't separate. Mm-hmm. And that was my thing with N'Keal Harry. I saw that in college and I saw it in the NFL. He couldn't separate. And it wasn't just like, being picky, right? It wasn't just being like, all right, I'm being nitpicky here. I really just, no, like he flat out could not separate from his defender. It just did not happen. He, wasn't a great route runner. He was more of like kind of a guy that could go up and get the football, high point it. And on top of that, he was used in those trick plays, as a returner, as a gadget guy. He was just a different type of receiver, but that doesn't translate the way a Jarvis Landry or a Cooper Kupp or a Keenan Allen do, with their route running, with their controlled aggression. It's hard. It's really hard to cover a guy like Keenan Allen, off the line of scrimmage, maybe the best route runner in football. He is just unbelievable tactician. You cannot cover him. And that's my thing, is that say N'Keal Harry was like that and he sacrificed being a big body receiver, wasn't a guy that can go up and high point the football, but he's somebody that creates separation based on what he does at the line of scrimmage with his footwork. By all means, I'd rather have that than a guy that'll just jump over people and catch. And that's why, like for me, you look at a guy like DK Metcalf, he had the speed to separate. He was a better, like the comparisons between Harry and Metcalf never made sense to me because Harry wasn't that receiver.
Yeah.
It was just weird, Adam, because I remember
a weird comparison.
We watched the combine, and I remember pointing this out, and you're like, yeah, I don't know why they did that. Metcalf ran like a 4.3, and everyone freaked out, reasonably so. But I mean, it was that way on tape, so it wasn't a surprise to me. Harry runs a 4.53. He's shorter than Metcalf, or maybe the same size, but close to the same size, right? And everyone's like, "Oh, that is such a great time for Harry," and they were like babying him, bro. It was weird.
Well, I think that is a good, when you put in perspective, like what you viewed him as coming out. 4.53 is a good time.
Yeah, it's not a bad time.
Because again, you
so weird though the way they like baby
as that possession receiver. Yeah, people liked him. I mean, I think they liked the player and the person. So there was definitely.
I've never heard anything bad about him personally. So
a little bit of favoritism, maybe, or just kind of like, letting your bias get into it and being like, I like the guy. So, yeah, I mean, I want him to do well, but I don't know. I'm rooting for him still. I hope he figures it out.
Yeah, and I also don't think the Patriots deserve a pass either because, they're an organization.
Did a very bad job.
No, they're an organization that has proven no matter if they have, you call him the GOAT or not, Tom Brady, doesn't matter who they've had at quarterback. They haven't been able to develop a single pass catcher. I mean, it's been Edelman, it's been Amendola, it's been Welker, and Gronk. And they literally traded a second rounder, one of the worst trades in the last 10 years, maybe, a second round pick to get Mohamed Sanu, and because they can't develop wide receivers. Just look at
Brady. Yeah, Tom
Boyce,
Brady is,
like Boyce, Lucien, Malcolm Mitchell, Aaron Dobson.
Malcolm Mitchell was coming out until he freaking destroyed his elbow.
Yeah, that's true. But
he was having a good year that year.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
It's like
but also I think that a lot of that has to do with the Patriots as an organization and Tom Brady as a person. Like, Tom Brady is I think he's the GOAT, so not a slight to him, but he's a kind of, he's a diva, and he's going to be like, these are my guys. This is my guy. This is who I want to go to all the time. This is who for whatever reason, maybe because they're always on the same page, or he just gets buddy along with them really well,
Yeah.
So maybe Harry never got into his good graces, and that's also a problem and a part of it too, who knows?
No, that's a good point. And, there's a guy that I love, one of my favorite professional athletes in the world, LeBron James, who has honestly done the same thing. I mean, you look, he goes to the Cavaliers. They have Andrew Wiggins, the #1 overall pick. And he says, nope, trade Andrew Wiggins. I want to play Kevin Love. And it's like, then people make the excuse, well, he's trying to win now. They're trying to win a championship. It's like, bro, if you're the GOAT, and I actually do believe LeBron James to a degree is the greatest of all time in basketball. And it's like, if you believe that, like Tom Brady, that's a big knock I have on him. This idea that we just plug and play, this idea that they can make everyone around them better, or they do make everyone around them better. I can find multiple reasons why both LeBron and Tom Brady don't. And they've not only not done that, but they've refused to do it. And so, then people will look, well, Tom Brady was throwing Aaron Dobson, what have you. Yeah, and look how quickly he started complaining, and, he got a whole new receiving core. And with LeBron James, he got Wiggins traded, and he got, I'm not saying it's the wrong decision, especially in the NBA. He got Brandon Ingram and, Josh Hart and Lonzo Ball. All these young guys traded so they can get Anthony Davis, who was a superstar. But I think the parallels are there, and both people are, considered the GOATs by some. And so I find that funny how, it's this whole, no matter how good a player is or no matter how bad it is, I always hear he makes everyone around him better, when that's just not true. Who does Tom Brady make way better? Who has he taken that's like an average dude and has turned him into a superstar? Because I can't name one single player in which he's done that, because Edelman didn't become a superstar. Edelman was average that he turned good, and now I think Edelman's actually, like, he was a legit receiver. Maybe Brady didn't actually make him as much as I thought. Amendola had success at the St. Louis Rams, so it's not like Brady made him, and it's not like he went over 1,000 yards when he went to Brady, And it's like, I mean, regardless of what Leonard Fournette or Ronald Jones did or whatever, it's like they've had to, Ronald Jones didn't really have that success. I think that was more the offensive line. Leonard Fournette's run for 1,000 yards in his career. Antonio Brown was not made by Brady, I can tell you that much. We know what he did with Ben. And then, I mean, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, you could argue Chris Godwin had his worst year with Tom Brady. And Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were blowing it up with Jameis Winston. So, like, who has Tom Brady in his career taken that was average and turned him into a star? And I think that's the thing I get at. When you make everyone around you better, what does that truly mean? And I feel like that's just something that's thrown out all the time.
Yeah, but I feel like you could say that for a lot of people, right?
Absolutely. We were just talking about the Patriots. Yeah. So I brought up LeBron James, who I love. So I was,
It's tough, though. It's a tough question. It's a tough thing to answer because you just don't know what you don't know. And it's like...
Because, I mean, could I not make the argument, you look at, Green Bay with Rodgers. Now all of a sudden everyone knows who Robert Tonyan is, a fourth string tight end for the 49ers. And now he comes to the Packers and everybody knows who he is, arguably a top 10 tight end. Allen Lazard. Dude is an undrafted rookie free agent, was with the Jaguars, was cut a bunch of times. Now all of a sudden he goes off and people know who he is. I find that interesting, and they're like Ben Roethlisberger. Like, to me,
Ben's done that.
He's
one
made
of the best at doing that.
He's
To be
made
honest,
receivers
bias aside,
better. He's made more receivers better than Brady. Because Ben doesn't complain about who he has around him and doesn't go out and say whine and complain about who I need. That's the one thing that doesn't get said enough. Ben took second round pick Juju Smith-Schuster. He took Emmanuel Sanders, who they drafted. He took a 6th round pick in Antonio Brown, didn't want to complain, try to get him traded away and try to get his own guy. He turned him into an all-pro. Yep. So
Mike Wallace, 3rd round pick.
Mike Wallace. So this is what I'm talking about with this whole, Tom Brady or LeBron James or this player, because he's really good at his position, makes everyone around him better. It's just not the case. And you look at Ben Roethlisberger, who's widely, he's pushed out of that equation. He's never put in the same breath as those guys. And he does. And so it makes you wonder who else does that. And you could argue Peyton Manning did that. Because where did Julius Thomas go after Peyton Manning with Denver? Eric Decker, dude. Eric Decker's career fell in the toilet. Demaryius Thomas, I mean, he had a few good seasons after, but really wasn't the same. So the only thing you get from it is Emmanuel Sanders is the only one that had any sort of level of consistency after Peyton.
Yep.
Reggie Wayne, of course, Marvin Harrison. But I'd argue he made Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne better than they truly were. By playing with him, they're Hall of Famers. Without him, I think they're very, very, very good receivers that are on the borderline. But now we talk about them as Hall of Famers. And that's what I'm getting at with that. So I think, I'd say Drew Brees took a Hofstra 7th round pick, or maybe even UDFA, Marcus Colston, turned him into a freak.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Graham, where the hell did Jimmy Graham go? Once he left Drew Brees, he was not the same. He's been around. He's still, he's solid. He's not elite like he was. He's not taking the NFL by storm.
That might be injury and age related though with Graham at least.
True. I mean,
but I get what you're saying for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that's something that's brought up a lot, but I just figured I'd throw that out there because it's something that's on my mind because I'm constantly hearing how so-and-so makes so-and-so better. And I'm like, well, if you look, history doesn't support that. History does not support those claims normally. And it does happen, right? Like guys do make guys around him better. I just told you, you could say Ben, you could say Breeze, you could say Rodgers, you could say Peyton, I mean, but to just assume that since the guy's like elite, he's making everyone around him better. I mean, Brady's amazing. Okay. Brady's a top 3 quarterback all time, in my opinion. And I would further say that he's got 7 Super Bowls. He's a winner. He's proven whatever his method is, he's doing it right. He's won more Super Bowls than the guys that do make everyone around him better. So maybe what he's doing is actually the right way, and trying to make everyone around you better is not the right way. Who knows?
I mean, he's unapologetically aggressive about, winning, whatever it takes. Get the right players in, ask for people to be traded. Go to the right teams that are,
LeBron James
clearly on the come up, right? Just put yourself in situations to succeed. And he's unapologetically been the best, obviously, in the NFL at doing that. And it's a sport, it's a competition. So I have no complaints about him doing it. People try and knock him for it. It's like, so he should stay in New England where they clearly are just spinning their wheels and what?
Yeah.
Flounder the rest of, I mean, this is the Aaron Rodgers topic right now. Why go back to Green Bay, spin your wheels when they're not supporting you in a way that you feel you should be supported? You might look like a jerk in the media, and you are a jerk to an extent, right? Because you're asking for that and you're doing these things, but you got to do what's going to get you the best opportunity to win, man. It's a sport, it's a competition. You're there to perform at the highest level. So I'm never going to be mad at players for trying to put themselves in the right situations, I
absolutely hear you.
There's obviously layers to it. Like the AB route is not the right route. Obviously, that's just a terrible way to go about it. Aaron Rodgers is kind of definitely being a jerk about it, but the act of doing it is, I understand it.
the Packers organization definitely isn't going to get any sympathy from me, but I will say the fans and I would say the players, because like Devontae Adams and all those guys, they're all siding with him, they're all having his back, and it's like in the same breath, they're kind of also they probably know that, I mean, they're being kind of taken advantage of in a sense. So, it's a shame it's gotten to this point, because I'm a huge Rodgers fan. But at the same time, it's like, I agree. And the way your entire career now is judged based on a team accolade, it's like, I understand why some players are like, I don't want my legacy to be known as the guy that couldn't get it done, won one Super Bowl, when he was super young and arguably had a better defense than an offense, and now can't win one no matter how great, we think he is. And it's like, I get that, I would also say, I think there's a interesting statement to be made with Patrick Mahomes. How much better does he make everyone around him?
I mean, he has great weapons, so it's hard to say.
Well, like, like Mecole Hardman, and I mean, how much is he elevating those players? It doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback. Doesn't mean he's
obviously
he's arguably the best quarterback in football.
Yeah, obviously not. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
And that's my guy. I just think it's important to be like unbiased in this scenario. That's why I brought up LeBron James, because I mean, right now he's my favorite basketball player. But
right,
like, let's be real here. To go to the Heat, he left a Cavs team that their best player was like Zildronis Ilgauskas. You don't have to know who that is. You could just hear the name and be like, okay, I can see why he left. And then the Heat, he goes out and he gets his boys. He gets Dwayne Wade in his prime and Chris Bosh in his prime. And then that doesn't work. It works out. Obviously, they win some championships, and then he goes to the Cavs. And immediately after the Cavs have taken Andrew Wiggins, #1 overall in the draft, he has him traded away for Kevin Love, a veteran who he wanted to play with. And then with the Lakers, goes through 1 year with the rookies or the young guns, has them sent away for Anthony Davis. So it's like, but again, we can't say this is the wrong way because he's won 4 titles because of it. We can't say what Tom Brady is doing is the wrong way because he's won 7.
Right.
But when people bring up he makes everyone around him better, it's just a fallacy. It's not true.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Probably going to clip that. I mean, it's a good debate, and it's, as long as you have, the research done and you do your homework, you can really find there are a lot of arguments you can make for players that just simply haven't gotten that. Like, the other day I did a live stream and I talked about how Matthew Stafford's 0-3 playoff record really isn't that bad. It's not like anything to worry about as far as like, oh my God, this guy just can't play in the playoffs. Like, if you look, his first year, 23 years old, he threw 4 touchdowns against the Saints. They lost 45-28, so his defense was non-existent. And the Saints, they were, 13-3. And then the next game, they go against the Dallas Cowboys, who were 12-4, one of the top teams in the NFC, all on the road, all tough games. And he had a 20-7 lead against them. And the defense, kind of fell under, at the end, and they lost. And then the third game, you look at Stafford playing in Seattle. You already know it's tough to play in Seattle, in the postseason, no less. And Thomas Rawls ran for like 160-something yards. And on the flip side, they only had Matthew Stafford throw 32 times. And their only running back who ran was Zach Zenner. He ran 11 times for like 30-something yards. So had no run support whatsoever, and then was asked to throw the ball. And then you look at the time of possession, like Seattle held the ball like 39 minutes of the game, and that's how they got creamed. So
yeah, man,
context matters, and like I'm really, I mean, I've always known this, but like I'm really starting to try to put an emphasis on it, because I mean, you could make a argument like going back to like your guy Big Ben, like what I just said. I think that's that should be That should be a feather in his cap when you look at his accomplishments and what he's done throughout his career. That's something that Brady does not have. And it's not like he's better than Brady because of it, but I do think that puts him in the top 10 quarterback of all time conversation for sure. And that's something that I would point to. I'd be like, he made everyone around him better.
Yep. Definitely, man. Totally agree.
I'm excited. And well, look what he's doing with Deontay and Chase. I mean, I'm not going to say they're not good receivers, but I'm also not going to say they were Hall of Fame receivers when they got to the Pittsburgh,
Right.
So, I mean,
he's definitely throughout his career gotten the most out of every weapon he's ever had.
Yeah.
They've never drafted an amazing weapon, and that person did not pan out because of Ben Roethlisberger.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He's always gotten the most out of people, so I definitely respect that aspect of his game. But
it's not like he's sitting there like, oh, you guys drafted Zach Gentry. I hate you. You better trade him away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, but I'm excited to see him with Najee because he's going to be used in the passing game, and I just drafted him the other day in the first round of my draft.
Nice.
I passed on all these and I don't know how the hell Ezekiel Elliott's considered a first round pick still. Like, God, he is so overrated. It's ridiculous. I can't. Yeah. But I don't know. The whole wow off season. I don't know if you saw, but they're like, well, he lost like 15 pounds.
Well, that'll be good.
Yeah.
No, if he really did, that's good because I think he's lost some of his explosiveness, and that might help. So
yeah, I mean, we'll see. I still like people that think like Dallas is going to go. I don't think Dallas is going to go far. I think they come maybe in. No, they'll be third because the Eagles are horrible. So I think the Eagles will be in last.
I think Dallas, is going to Dallas.
Jalen Hurts, though. So, like, I'm not with everyone on that. Like, I think Jalen Hurts can be a good quarterback. But, yeah. I think it's the Giants' division to lose, followed by Washington. Because I think the Giants have a great defense. And I might be setting myself up for disappointment, but I'm really high on Daniel Jones this year. The weapons he has. Yeah. The offensive line definitely has to get better. Like, well, they have to play, right? Because on paper, I think their offensive line's improved, but they have to play up to that. So that has to get better. They have Saquon Barkley back, which is like drafting Saquon Barkley because you didn't have him last year, really. You had him like a game and a half. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be huge. Go back and watch Daniel Jones' rookie year. He made some incredible throws. He had some huge games. I believe he beat Tampa. Like right before the Rams played Tampa in 2019, Daniel Jones had like a 5-touchdown game. Like his rookie year. And so now he's got Kenny Golladay, he's got Shepard, he's got Kadarius Toney, he's got Slayton. They added Kyle Rudolph, Evan Ingram. I mean, like he's got.
They have no excuses. It's Daniel Jones's team to take to the playoffs or not at this point. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah. All right. So we're at the hour mark. Any final topic you want to discuss before signing off, or?
I don't really have anything on my mind as of right now. I do want to give a shout out to Whoopster. Haven't caught the show in a while. How are you guys doing? I'm doing well. Adam, how are you doing?
Doing okay. Recovering.
Appreciate you, Whoopster. Sorry I missed that earlier. NFK Gaming, what's up? As a Steelers fan, Tom Brady is the GOAT. There isn't debating it, so I don't know what your big point is, to be honest. That really wasn't where I was going with that. While I don't think Tom Brady is the GOAT, and I've already made that, argument so many times, it was more so hearing those kind of not cookie cutter, but like filler arguments. Just because you can say them, Adam, like you'll be like, yeah, and they also had this guy, and you're like, why did you even mention that? The guy's 5th string defensive lineman. Why would you? You know what I mean? It just sounds better because you added words in. It's like that's to me is you say Tom Brady's won 7 Super Bowls. He has taken 2 different teams to the Super Bowl and won them both. And he makes everyone around him better. I'm like, no, hold on. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like when people say that with LeBron, I'd say, LeBron versus Jordan. I will agree with you. I think LeBron is the GOAT because he literally impacts every single area of the basketball game, whereas Jordan isn't the passer. LeBron is. Fine. But if you're going to say it's because he makes everyone around him better, I just told you why that's not the case.
There you go.
And like he, you know, don't get me wrong, when he's on the court with guys, I do think he elevates everyone's play to a degree, but he doesn't make everyone around him better.
Yeah. If you're great, you're going to elevate everyone to an extent. It's just how much, but yeah.
That's the thing. And that's why, you know, I think Ben, Breeze, Payton deserve more credit. I'm sure there's other quarterbacks I could throw out there. Kurt Warner getting Steve Breston over 1,000 yards, and then I don't know what the hell happened to him. I mean, obviously Bolden, Fitz were both great, so I'm not going to give him that. But I mean, quarterbacks do that, and they don't get credit for it. But that's the position. So that's I think that's going to do it for us. This has been the AJ Show, and we've done 18 episodes. So we're going to keep rolling along. You know, we're going to I don't really see us doing remote during the season. I think we'll be in the studio more, for sure.
Unless we're traveling to games, it might happen.
Yeah, then we might have to do it from the car.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the season. I know you texted me. You're like, I can't wait. Like, I'm the same way at this point. Fast forward summer, I'm just get me to week 1, man.
Yeah.
Hell, I'll even sacrifice that if you can just take us to preseason. I'll do it.
Okay, cool. That's fair.
All right, like I'm meeting in the middle, right? Like you can't have it all, so I'll gladly sacrifice that if I could just get to preseason. But you know, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Aiden, thank you. See you later. Go follow Adam everywhere. He's on Renegade Adam, Twitter. Adam Steele. You can see his name right there. That is his YouTube. He's blowing up. He's past 10K. Soon he's going to be at Mark Madden's level at 100K soon. I don't know. You can also find me on YouTube, JK, not JK. That's Twitter, JK Bogan. Jake ELLENBOGEN on YouTube. I'm not quite at Adam's level right now, but I am almost at 6,000 subs, so I would appreciate you if you help me get to there. But that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we will be back soon. You guys take care, and talk to you guys later.